Hey everybody, happy Sunday and welcome to another one of my episodes of Says Alvin. This week has been a little up and down for me. For those of you who follow me on Facebook, you know that my mother passed away 30 years ago, and this past week would have been her 95th birthday. And so I honored her by, of course, giving and paying her a tribute on Facebook. One of the things that happened during that time, I am in the process of having some home renovations done. And one area I had to clean out, and I found a box that my mother had given to me 30 years ago. She put me in charge of her estate when she passed away. And in that box, I never looked in the box. And the only thing that I did that I can remember was put her interment papers and her death certificate in the box, closed it up, never looked at it until this week. And when I opened the box and read the letters and the information that my mother left in that box, it just really blew my mind. Blew my mind in a way that left me filled with so many different emotions that, like I said on my Facebook post, I even felt like a little kid, because here I am, 30 years older, and I can't ask her any questions. Some of the references and information that I found are about people that are no longer with me. So I was left feeling, after getting all of that and dealing with some truth even with that, I was thinking, how do I handle it? And as I went on through the week, I kept looking at things that were happening on TV. And I know even myself, someone who's really feels like they got their stuff together and they can handle most things, there are a lot of things that we just can't handle, or we don't know how we're going to handle it until it actually happens. So today, in this session, I want to talk to you and basically ask the question, or how would I handle it? And you can ask yourself, how would you handle something like this? So some of the things that have been happening in the news a lot, if you've noticed, there's been a huge influx of white people feeling the need to spit on people, black people, or actually, I'm sure they're not necessarily black people, but spit on people who are not of their race to get their point across. Now, if you're like me, I grew up and spitting on me is one of the worst things in the world. Spitting on anyone, even on the ground, is like an ultimate no-no. And even when I was looking at, I'm sure you all have seen, most of you have seen Hamilton. I was looking at it, and the character King George, when he was performing from the original cast, spit was coming out of his mouth while he was performing, and I'm just getting completely grossed out, because I'm looking at these other actors who are rapping and doing like 90 and 120 words per beat or minute or whatever you say, and no spit's coming out of their mouth. But anyway, I digress. I'm just letting you know that the art of spitting on somebody, to me, is gross. And so to see like this lawyer who spit on the Black Lives Matter protester a few weeks back, just went up to him and just like spit in his face. I mean, and for no reason, she thought that was the thing to do. And then you have I saw something on one of the clips that have been running on social media about a woman who went into a store, and the person who owns the store asked her to put on her mask, and when she wouldn't, he said that he wasn't going to serve her. So she spit on the counter. A counter that I would have to walk up to if I was in that store, and basically use the counter after she spit on it. And then there was another situation where it wasn't spit, but this woman was in the store and she was just, didn't want to wear her mask or whatever. And so the person started filming her, and she felt the need to go up in the person's face. I mean, get really close up in the person's face and then cough in that person's face. And I had to ask myself, Alvin, what would you do in a situation like that? And I'm just going to tell you, you are not going to spit on me. And I'm telling all the people out there who feel like the way you get your point across is to spit in somebody's face, just know that there is somebody like me sitting here that will not, cannot, in no way possible accept you doing that to me. So when you do that to me, just be prepared for what I'm going to do to you. And I can't say, but I am not, believe me, hear me when I tell you, everybody knows I am not the type of person that likes to hurt people, but there's just some things that you just do not do. And I know some people who follow this post anyway on Facebook. I know I saw some things that you all said that you would do to people. I can't publicly say what I would do because in all honesty, I don't know. But I do know that I will do something if you spit on me. So that's something else that I have to ask myself, Alvin, how would you handle that? Another thing that has happened this week that, you know, I gotta say, the gentleman, Chris Cooper, the Birdman that everyone's calling him, who was in Central Park, and the woman who called the police on him, the New York City, the DA has filed she's getting ready to go to jail, and they want to have a case. And Chris Cooper, who I think he is the man. Chris, I think you are the man in that. I love the way you handled that situation. I love the way you followed through on it. I love watching you interview for it. I loved all of that. But in the news right now, they're saying that he is not going to testify against her. Now, I'm going to tell you, how would I handle that? I'm going to tell you, Chris, I'm sorry. She deserves to be outed. I mean, a message needs to be sent to her. I know, Chris, and I think you're so humble, and I love the fact that you said you feel like she's been through enough. No, she has not been through enough. Because if the shoe was on the other foot and the police had come and taken you away, believe me, she would be testifying that you did what she said you did and you really didn't do it. So I'm sorry. If it were me, I'd be sitting up in that courtroom. I'd be making every testimony I possibly could to convict her, basically to send a message. And while I'm here, can we stop calling all these white women who are calling the police on black people? Can we stop calling them Karens and start calling them by their real names? And if they got an email address, get their email address and exposing them. If they got a real name, exposing them. If they have a job, exposing them. All of their names are not Karen. Do not get comfortable calling them some fictitious name that you all are making up to make a mockery out of it, because none of that is funny. So if it were me, how I would handle it, I'd be sitting right up in court, testifying, telling them to convict her behind for making a false claim against me. Okay, so that is that. Another thing, these are to all the parents. I want to give a special shout out to Marcia Grant. She was the young woman who took her son to a restaurant in Baltimore, Uzo, and they wouldn't let him in because they said he was dressed inappropriately when there was a white kid also in there dressed almost like he was, and yet they wouldn't let him, let her and her son eat in that restaurant, and then would not give her an explanation as to why he couldn't do it. Just said that they couldn't do it. Well, she is proceeding with pressing charges against the restaurant, and I want her to get every single thing out of it that she can. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, please talk to your kids. Please, I think this is the time. Use this as an opportunity to show them that this can happen, that this is happening, and prepare them for this. If you listen to her story, one of the most hurtful things in all of this was that her son, she said, was not prepared for this. And so I'm telling you all, please talk to your children about what's going on today and have that open. And I mean, I'm talking about that very blunt and basic conversation, because these things are happening. I am actually If it were me, if I was a parent, I would be doing it. So anyway, I'm going to go off. If you all are wondering, I have trigger finger. I've been working from home for nearly 20 weeks, and all of a sudden my thumb started hurting from working. So if anyone has had trigger finger, it is a very, very painful thing, and I am definitely wearing this beautiful brace on it, but I'm going to get it corrected. But in any case, I just want to, let you all know that there are ways and things that are going on in this world that will make you ask yourself, how will you handle it? And tonight, that was this is my story, and those are some things that I think that you all should really give some consideration to if it ever happens to you. Everyone have a good evening, and I will talk to you later when I come back with another episode of So Says Alvin. Bye now.